Hey guys, welcome back to Baseline Full Court Press, the podcast where women's basketball gets the spotlight, the smoke, and the respect. I'm your host, Patience, and today we'll be talking all things WNBA playoffs, starting with who's still in the playoffs, what's working for each team, and what is not working for each team. What do I think, and who do I want to win? So, if you don't know, there are four teams left in the WNBA playoffs. We are in the semifinal round, and one of those matchups is between the Las Vegas Aces and the Indiana Fever. They are currently 1-1. The Indiana Fever upset the Las Vegas Aces in game one of the semifinals, which nobody thought would happen. Except for the Indiana Fever fans. I mean, they might be shocked too. With a score of 68-90. And in game two, the Aces came out on top with a victory of 89-73. And our next matchup, we have the Phoenix Mercury versus the Minnesota Lynx. And they are currently 1-1 as well. The Minnesota Lynx did take game one with a score of 82-69, but Phoenix shocked the world when they took game two into overtime, closing a 20-point gap and won 89-83. Let's get into what's working for the teams and what's not working for the teams. First, we're going to start off with the Minnesota Lynx. Offensively, moving the ball and getting open three-pointers is currently what's working for them. Defensively, they're rebounding good. They have high pressure defense and they also have versatile defense, meaning that majority of their players can switch defensive assignments, which makes it really hard for the other team. What is not working for the Minnesota Lynx, however, is turnovers. In game two, they had 18 turnovers and that led to 21 points for the Phoenix Mercury, which I would say cost them the game. Bench production isn't working either. The bench hardly ever produces for the Minnesota Lynx. But that does give them a depth problem. So if you have the same players on the floor at the maximum amount of time, that does oftentimes leave them gassed out, especially since they love to play high pressure defense. Also, the Minnesota Lynx second half defense is not up to par. According to the WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx are ranked number one when it comes to defensive ratings. So they should definitely not be letting up in the second half. That's for sure. Since their second half defense wasn't as aggressive, they also let out a lot of three-pointers. And now we're going to talk about the Phoenix Mercury, who is going up against the Minnesota Lynx. What's working well for them is getting points in the paint. That's also in game two, they showed that assists really do work well for them if they move the ball. Also in the second game, they proved that three-pointers do work well for them. It's just in the first game, those three-pointers just were not dropping. So if they can continue to get those open looks on the three-point line, that is great. Defensively, they are better in the second half, but the first half does need some work. And as far as what's not working for Phoenix, despite them pulling out the win, they did have a lot of turnovers. Rebounding is not Phoenix's strong suit at the moment, as well as consistently knocking down threes. Now they did consistently knock down threes in the second half of game two, but they need to go ahead and stretch that consistency or else they will be knocked out. Now on to the second matchup, which is the Aces versus the Fever. Offensively, what's working for the Aces is going to be moving the ball and getting those assists. Now, they normally average about 20 assists per game, and that does help them a lot when they move the ball. Scoring in the paint is also working well for them, whether that's drives, post moves. Also, the Aces are shooting really well from the three-point line, and that is always a plus. Defensively, what's working for them, in game two, they were very aggressive, and Becky Hammond did make some defensive changes from game one. She made it to where Chelsea Gray, Jewel Lloyd, and Jackie Young all switch and rotate off of Kelsey Mitchell, because if you didn't know, Kelsey Mitchell has been putting up quite the numbers this playoff series. So what's not working for the Aces is that they did definitely foul way too much in game one. They ultimately lost because they were not moving the ball like they should have, and that was causing their offense to be stagnant. And the Aces are having way too many turnovers that the Fever capitalized off of. Some players on the Aces tend to jump it to try to get a steal, but that ultimately leads to multiple back cuts for the Indiana Fever, and they thrive off of those back cuts. Offensively, what's working for them is going to be moving the ball and fast breaks. They do thrive off of fast breaks, and that is how they get a lot of their points. And the Indiana Fever is also thriving with getting offensive boards. Defensively, they're doing pretty good. The Aces are a hard team to stop, especially with Asia Wilson. But they've been maintaining. They've definitely been maintaining. They're getting a lot of steals, and they always convert those steals into points. What's not working for the Indiana Fever is going to be three-pointers, unfortunately. Shocker, right? Shocker. For starters, their three-point percentage is down the drain, especially coming from game two, where they weren't able to get off a lot of three-point shots, or actually, they did get off a lot of shots, they just weren't falling. The Fever do have a depth problem. This entire series, they have heavily relied on Kelsey Mitchell. Now, she is doing her thug thizzle. She is doing her thing down there, and it seems that the Aces cannot stop her until game 2 where they found a solution. But I still don't know if that's going to stop her because she was still getting buckets. If they want to win the series, they will need to have other players score more often. So defensively, they have a lot of breakdowns in the paint, and that cannot happen against the Aces because they do have a size advantage. Now let's get into what players are going crazy during this series. For the Minnesota Lynx, first we have Nafisa Collier, of course. For the last 4 games, she scored 24 points, 18, 24, and 20. Next we have Courtney Williams, who in game 2 played her butt off and got a whopping 20 points. The game before that, she got 23, and then before that, she got 6 and 11. They need Courtney Williams to stay consistent because she also brings the energy to the team. Once she's on fire, everybody else is on fire. Kayla McBride has also been putting in that work on the court, showing out with 21, 21, 18, and 7. And for the Lynx, I would say who needs to step it up, but they're using everything but the bench. For the Phoenix Mercury, Satu Sabali has been putting her team on her back with 24, 10, 23, and 15. Now, the Lynx did keep Satu to 10 points in game 1 where they won, but then she proceeded to go off in the next game and they lost. So if Satu keeps showing up like that, the Lynx are in for a real problem. Alyssa Thomas has been doing her thing. In game 2, she had 19 points. In game 1, she had 18. Before that, she had 20 and 15. And Alyssa Thomas's numbers are always very consistent for the most part. Sammy Whitcomb has proven to be a phenomenal role player. She has been putting up essential numbers such as 13, 11, 13, and 3. She is that spark when they need it. Now, who I would like to see produce more is going to be Dewana Bonner. She only had 4 points, but she was in for 26 minutes. And if she's not going to score, we need her to do something. We need her to rebound. We need her to assist. I would love to see more from Kalia Copper. I know she did just get back from an injury, so we're going to go ahead and cut her some slack, but she has been doing pretty good for just coming back from an injury. And of course, for the Aces, Asia Wilson has been a dog. She had 25 points. In the game before that, they did hold her to 16 points, which is not good. If they do want to win, Asia needs to have 20 or above. The game before that, she had 38, and the game before that, she had 21. And Jackie Young has also been putting up some essential numbers, such as 13, 19, 14, and 25. But I do want to see more from Jackie because, come on, it's Jackie Young. Chelsea Gray has been doing okay. She has had 6, 13, 12, and 7. She could score a little more, but as long as she keeps on dropping those dimes, I'm not too mad. But you know who I am mad at? Jewel Lloyd. We need you to produce. I know you haven't been having a great season, but this is crunch time. If you was going to produce any time during this year, this is the time. We need Jewel Lloyd in her bag. Who I'm really excited for, though, is Nalissa Smith. She actually just had a phenomenal game. She had 18 points, I want to say. She had 18 points last game, and that is the Nalissa Smith the Aces need. I need her to show up every time. She was in that post backing them girls down like she was 8 foot tall. And also, shout out to Dana Evans. She has been a real spark for the Aces. And for the Indiana Fever, Kelsey Mitchell has been going dumb. I mean, like, who's the face of the Indiana Fever? Is it Kelsey Mitchell or is it Caitlin Clark? I can't remember because she's just so deep in her bag right now. I don't know. And in the second game against the Aces, they did hold her to only 13 points, which is a very good decision on the Aces' behalf because she sure gave them problems in that game 1, where she had 34 points. Game before that, she had 24 and 19. Who's also in their bag on the Fever is Odyssey Sims. She actually just got signed to the Indiana Fever because of injuries. As you know, they have a ton of injuries. Last game, she had 13. Before that, she had 17, 16, and 5. And Lexi Hole has been knocking down threes, and I'm going to need her to keep that up. Some players to mention is also Natasha Howard. She has been getting rebound after rebound after rebound for the Indiana Fever. Also, Aaliyah Boston is doing really well when it comes to rebounding, but I am going to need her to get some more points. I know it might be a little hard for her in the paint against the Aces, but Aaliyah Boston is a good player. Now, my thoughts on the WNBA playoffs is that they're full of surprises, and we're only in game 2 of the semifinals. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Kelsey Mitchell really has been going in. And most people counted out the Indiana Fever, including me, just simply because they do have a lot of injuries. Phoenix and Indiana went into this series as the underdogs, but they are making sure they do not go down without a fight. Also, a really good matchup that I want to point out is going to be AT and Fee. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, That's Alyssa Thomas and Nafisa Collier. They are each other's defensive assignments and they are holding each other most of the game. And they are dogging each other out. Like, it's so fun to watch them go at it. So if you're looking for a matchup to watch, go ahead and tune into Phoenix and Minnesota. Now, who do I want to win, you ask? Nobody asks, but I'm going to tell you. Aces all day, baby. Yes, all day long. I really want them to go against Minnesota. And some people are going to count the Aces out, but guess what? I don't care what happened on July 25th.
The score was 109 to 78. Shh. We're not talking about that right now.
Personally, I think the Aces could capitalize on the Lynx depth issue. Then this should be a walk in the... It's not going to be a walk in the park. Let me be quiet. Because we all know that the Lynx are actually on a revenge tour. They actually got robbed last year for the championship by the New York Liberties. So they may have a chip on their shoulder. But we're going to knock that chip right off. Asia cannot have less than 20 points. And I also want to talk about some unexpected matchups that could happen in the finals. Whether that be Phoenix versus Indiana, I'm going with the Fever. If it's Aces versus Phoenix, that's tough. Psych, Aces. If it's Minnesota versus Indiana, Lynx all day. They got robbed last year. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Comment and let me know what you think about this playoff series and who you want to win. Don't forget to follow and like for new episodes dropping every Thursday.